what we constantly seem to hear is small fringe groups, whether it's anti-Semitism, whether it's anti-establishment, whether it's I just feel like being against something. The media goes wild. You would think that the majority of the country is in favor of something based off of coverage. And as we all know, we've talked about 3.5 years, the incredible bias that's been in the world for the last, I would say, decade. And it has exploded in the last 5 years. Welcome, everybody, to the Rant Network, a podcast where me, one of your hosts, Stuart Brisgell, and my co-host, that other guy, David Solomon, peel the layers back in a multitude of topics without holding anything back, where we're all about raw, unfiltered dialogue that serves as an outlet to voice opinion, exchange ideas, and share experiences from every corner of life. Let's dive into this issue as we do every other current pop culture, politics, quirks of existence, and so much more. Whether it's venting over daily life's frustrations or tackling really big questions, something that the media seems to fail to do. That's all covered in the Rant Network's umbrella. Get comfortable and join us as we get into this discovery, like we do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern, for just a quarter hour. David, I think at this point, I don't know what to even say on this topic because it's just absurd. How the world is bending for small fringes, thinking that this political correctness is going to somehow either be pacified or go away. And if I think back to the Roman era, they'd just kill them all and be done with this disobedience. You know, yeah. I mean, I hate to tell you, the Christians of the world are the ones who are notorious for just killing disobedience and disenfranchisement, whether we talk about a Spanish Inquisition or whether we talk about it any other way. I mean, they've gone crusades over disavowing and just getting rid of this disobedience. But David, today's society and its political correctness doesn't want to do that. David?
No, you know what, Stuart? Let's be realistic today, okay? Today we're worried about feelings, we're worried about sentiments, we're worried about hurting people. But it's not just that, Stuart. The reality is today that the Democratic Party wants to be the party of empathy. That's what they're saying. We're empathetic for everybody. You have a cause? Come see me. Not everybody. Not everybody who's got a cause. Like, hey, Jews, stay away. Because there's this whole group out there. You're not challenging enough. You're not woe is me enough. You take care of yourself. So as a result, we can't really help you. You're not going to be dependent on us. And besides, we have your vote anyway. So who the heck cares? Stuart, what's fascinating about what you just said to the whole thing was this is a fringe group. And what we've seen since October 7th is a well-organized group of people who are well-funded, Stuart, right? They're well-funded. Iran, George Soros and company, all about trying to create anarchy, all about trying to ruin and disrupt American society. I don't know who they're trying to do more disruption to. You know, the left with the Democrats or the right with the Republicans, I have no clue. But for whatever reason, they're well-funded and they're creating anarchy. But what's fascinating, though, is how much attention this group is getting. Enough is enough. Let's be realistic. We talked about this earlier last week, Stuart. Over 300 days, the hostages are in captivity. Over 300 days. From babies to adults to seniors, Holocaust survivors. Doesn't matter. Insane. 1,200 people were murdered. And still, this group of people is in denial or claiming resistance. I mean, it's insane to believe that a group of people have decided that murdering 1,200 people, raping women, burning babies is resistance. And you've got too many people who agree with them, especially those in universities, professors, certain politicians. But Stuart, what's fascinating is that the Democrats who are embracing these anarchists Haven't learned anything. Check behind door number 1, Jamal Bowman. Behind door number 2, Corey Bush. Now there's talk about Elon Omar. A seat in Minnesota might be up in peril. The point is that the people are fed up of these anarchists. They're fed up of people who are disruptive. And now they want to go to Chicago and protest in front of the Democratic National Convention, out of 1968. They think this is a Vietnam War all over again. It ain't. You've got the leader of Hamas today who pulled out of the negotiations with Israel because Israel refuses to first release terrorists. By the way, one of the terrorists they released as part of the negotiations went right back into Israel to murder Jews. And Israel's saying no. You've got anarchists who want to burn American flags, Israeli flags, disrupt public events. They ruined university campuses. And now, Stuart, they want to go into they want to be at the Democratic National Convention. I don't know who the heck they think they are.
David, I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question. How many American flags got burned in Israel in the last?
You've asked this question, but you've asked this question.
I just think it's important to constantly say, like you keep wanting to bring up the fact that the insanity around people not talking about hostages, not talking about the facts, and just dealing with the insanity.
Stuart, America's number one ally in the Middle East, Israel, doesn't burn American flags.
Nope.
Doesn't call for death to America.
Nope.
Doesn't call for boycotting America.
Nope.
Doesn't call for. Instead, what it says is we've been friends since our rebirth. We are friends. We are allies. We have a common enemy. But if the United States government, Joe Biden today, God help us, Kamala Harris tomorrow, goes up and sucks up to Iran, the common enemy in the Middle East will be America.
Well, speaking of sucking up to Iran, we don't know where Kamala Harris or the now discovered very interesting background of her running mate being very close with a mullah. 2019.
Stuart, it's really actually quite obvious. Stuart,
these aren't friends of America, and they're not friends of Israel. Just because you live in the United States and just because you live in a Western country doesn't mean you're Western-minded. And, if you're not Western-minded, there's a place for you. You can go to China. You can go to Iran. You can go wherever you want. But why are they here? Why are they there?
Let me ask you a question. President Obama applauded the uprising in Egypt for the Muslim Brotherhood, a terrorist organization, applauded them, supported them, called it the Arab Spring. The media celebrated its glory days. You know what the other countries like Saudi Arabia, Jordan, these allies to the United States said? Who are you rooting for? And now they're asking the same question. They asked the same question of Joe Biden. Remember how he screwed up the relationship with Saudi Arabia. Now the same question will be asked of Kamala Harris. Now we don't know because Kamala won't say as part of her policies, because God forbid she will put out anything to it. But you and I both know one thing. After her meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, and she basically blamed him for no ceasefire without saying it that way, but it was totally implied. Who do you think she's allied with?
I want to know when she had the same statement towards Vladimir Putin, or how about in the Xi Jinping, or how about, because we got the Uyghurs being massacred. You have, is it Sudan? Is it Sudan they're being massacred there? I mean, you have all these massacres going on. But wait a minute. The only ones that have to do a ceasefire is this little country called Israel. Where is her demand for Vladimir Putin to ceasefire? Where's her demand?
Let me ask you a question. Can you name me in history one other country that was attacked by 7 different forces and is still being called the aggressor?
Let me think for a second.
Okay, you've got Hamas, you got Hezbollah, you got the Houthis, you got the Iranians, you got the Iraqis, you got the Syrians, and you got others.
Jordanians.
No, Jordan's not attacking Israel. Let's be realistic. Jordan is not, but you're getting it out of, you're getting it from 7 different sources in the Middle East, but Israel is the aggressor.
Yep.
And Kamala Harris. And that's why the DNC, and this is why people are upset. They're sick and tired of these fringe groups coming out there and making noise, Stu.
But you're saying
And
they're
Kamala
upset.
keeps propping them up.
But you know what the problem is? The media, which maybe should be a later rant, seems to whitewash and not report these facts.
Because they
The
don't want
media is complicit.
They don't
It's
want
supporting-
to.
no.
Still, they want Trump out. They want Kamala in. It's anybody but Trump. You see it with all the rest of the media. But that's the thing. Since, you know what, it hurt CNN to have to actually support Israel. But the moment they can flip the switch on Israel, boom. Okay, earlier this week, on the weekend, apologies, Israel had to hit a school. Why? Hamas is hiding in there. It's another one of their big bases. The media reports 100 Palestinians dead. Doesn't report the facts that there were 31 known terrorists in there.
Yep.
Come on. Where's that information? And Kamala is taking it. And every time, and it's amazing, Joe Biden said, we're not giving arms to Israel. Attacks increased. Kamala Harris opened her mouth to Benjamin Netanyahu. Hamas pulls out of negotiations. Every time it happens that the Democrats do something against Israel, look what ends up happening.
But you're forgetting another key fact. Another key fact. They don't like Israel. They don't like the Jews.
I'm not forgetting the fact.
Oh, because I think that's
I started by saying
that. You know,
that I started with that, Stuart. Clean the ears, buddy. The DNC has made it very clear. Josh Shapiro could not be, God forbid, even though they need Pennsylvania, he couldn't be the VP. But they said we need to, because the left in that party, the hardcore lunatics who support these fringe Palestinians, would oppose a Jewish VP.
Yep.
We need a lefty, off the ledge, gender mutilation supporter in Tim Maltz. We don't need someone who's looking for global peace. We're looking for someone to shut Israel down. We're looking for someone to shut Jews down. And they're going to continue to embolden these fringe protesters. And you want to know what, Stuart?
What?
University starting in a couple of weeks. What do you think is going to happen all over again?
Oh, I'm excited to see what goes on. You know what? I'm going to use an old expression back from 2016. Lock them up.
Hey, Stu, do you know what happened to Harvard? Harvard lost a lawsuit because they didn't defend the Jewish students on campus. They learned nothing.
No, they lost 2 lawsuits. They lost a minority against the Asian community about DEI, and they lost the one against the Jews. And it's funny. I'm laughing.
But Stu, but this is it. The Dems, this is what they want. They want the anarchy. They love this anarchy. But the American population doesn't. And you know what? I'll say it again. Checkbox Cory Bush. Checkbox Jamal Bowman. Who's next?
I'm breaking open a bottle. If Elon gets out, I'm drinking on the next podcast. If she gets kicked out, I'm drinking while we go live. Because I don't care what time of day it is. It's a day to celebrate.
Wow. Listen, I hope democracy works the way it should work. But this is the point, that the Democratic Party is not even listening. The people do not want, Stuart, you hear this. People don't want them. They don't want to support anarchists. They don't want to support people who are calling for death in America.
But they don't know they're anarchists because they don't report it. But David,
no, they do. They do. They're ignoring it. It's not only on the media.
It's not reporting.
Right.
I'm gonna now close this, David.
Of course you will.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Huge time, lend your ears, your eyes, and all your time. The Rant Network, been a real pleasure sharing these thoughts, as David had lots more than I did today. And your support means the world. We're excited to welcome you back for another meaningful, insightful discussion on Friday, as we are every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern, for just a quarter hour. Stay connected with us on social media channels. Don't hesitate to bug us, PM us, send us emails, calls. We take it all. Bottom line, guys, is go to our website, grab a whole 3.5 years of episodes. And we want to say this.